want to talk about the professional idiot before I get started. I want to start with the quote from Albert Einstein. He said, "It is rare to see a man's curiosity outlast his formal education." Think about that. So many times we have people that, whether they want to become a doctor or some type of professional, they go learn a trade, get certified, jump through all the flaming hoops, make it happen. And then that's it. Now they're just going to do whatever's necessary to keep their license going, their certification or whatnot, and just keep it going. It has less to do with actually being curious. The idea of being curious is what makes us men. As a man, we constantly want to figure out how shit works. That's how we are. It's like a problem in relationships because, women just want to talk about everything, all kinds of shit. And they don't really want a solution. They just like talking. But we can't help it because the way we were built to give solutions. So, when we have an issue, we're trying to figure that shit out. So if you lose your curiosity and your passion for whatever it is you set out to do when you became a professional, over time you'll become a professional idiot because you have to constantly evolve and grow and learn. And it doesn't mean you can't stick with the old ways or the things that you were taught. Doesn't mean you can't do that. It means you have to explore all the new so that the old ways are the best. Because if you stop learning and you stop trying, you stop looking under every nook and cranny and looking for the answers for whatever you're doing to be better, then you're going to fall behind because life moves on. And I'm bringing all this up because outside of like a surgeon and, a few doctors out there, like what the fuck are doctors doing these days? Like, does anyone really believe that we're trying to cure cancer? Does anyone believe that? Is there anyone around here that believes that? Do you believe that? I don't believe that. It's a $1 trillion industry. Why would they want to stop making all that money? So if they're not really trying to cure cancer, well, then what are they doing with these medicines, these procedures, and these techniques, and these chemotherapies and all that? What are they doing? And so that's why if there's a doctor out there that's curious, well, that's a dangerous man. Because now, the thing about doctors, and I point out doctors a lot because they're kind of at the pinnacle of society in terms of knowledge, education, and kind of power, next to be like lawyers, maybe vice versa, hell, but, they're up there. And I pick them out because they're really good at learning. They're really great at learning. They're so great at learning that, if they were curious, they'd come up with all kind of shit. And it just seems to me, here we are 5 years after, can't even say that word. How fucked up is that? You can't even say that word. Like, people are like writing it differently on the internet, because they're afraid to say that word because we all know it was a fucking scam. It was all a big scam. It's all a big scam to do so many different things. And I'm not going to go into that right now. But I just wanted to touch on that before I moved on. Because if you're not curious, you're not learning, you're not trying to make it happen, like, you're not the best professional out there. You know what I mean? And not even a really valuable one at that. So, and I say that walking into this. So there has been evidence to prove that ivermectin has been curing all kinds of cancers. Well, that's odd because ivermectin was known as this dewormer for horses. So it kills worms and parasites. Worms and parasites. Well, how does that cure cancer? Well, when you start thinking about it, it's pretty simple. So these parasites make parasitic sacs of eggs. And so now we're starting to find out if you took ivermectin and you were cured of cancer and tumors, you didn't have tumors. You had parasitic egg sacs. And doctors aren't testing for this shit. They're not curious enough to go like, what could this tumor be? And so instead people are like, oh, you got a brain tumor, you're going to die, whatnot. Well, like, now we know there's a chance that it could be parasites. Like, holy shit. Think about that. So you're going to take radiation and chemo and all this stuff to try to kill these parasites. But you could have just took ivermectin. And I'm sure there's other compounds you could take that will kill parasites. You know, I know that there's a lot of different herbal supplements out there that claim to do that. Things like oil of oregano, black seed oil. Maybe they work. I'm willing to bet they do to some degree. You know, there was a kid that did a study on oil of oregano versus antibiotics with a bacteria, and he did it as a science fair project. And the teacher laughed at him because she thought she had it all figured out because she's so smart, because her formal education told her that the only way to get rid of bacteria is with an antibiotic. And so this kid was like, already knew what was going to happen. So he did the study, and it worked so well. It worked so well. You drop the bacteria or drop the oil of oregano with the bacteria, and right away it's just killing all the bacteria, killing everything. It worked so well that he got down to like the smallest amount that he could put in there, and it still worked. And the teacher was blown away, and everybody's blown away. And the kid was like, yeah, I guess he'd had experience with that because his, mother was like holistic and into these different things. And so he already kind of knew that it was going to work, but it worked fabulously. It worked so well that it got me thinking, got me thinking about some things and curious. I'm very curious what things are out there that could stop things that we think are tumors. Because maybe they're parasites. Maybe it's bacteria. Maybe it's... how great would that be if we had an herbal remedy to kill bacteria versus antibiotics? Antibiotics, there's a lot of antibiotic strains that are becoming antibiotic resistant. It's starting to be an issue. It's starting to be a thing because everybody takes them so much and uses them so much. Wouldn't it be great if we just went that natural route? Pretty crazy. So the next thing, people with Alzheimer's. That's a weird deal, people dying from Alzheimer's. There's a couple different things that I've read and videos I've watched and seen on Alzheimer's. And number one, if you're given any type of statins and it drops your cholesterol below 185, there's a study that says within 10 years you're going to have cancer of some kind. So this idea of dropping your cholesterol and keeping it down, this whole thing that like, oh, that's what you have to do. You have too high of a cholesterol. It's all horse shit. It's all horse shit. You want to get your cholesterol down? Eat more cholesterol. You want to get your bad cholesterol down? Stop eating all the fucking sugary carbohydrates. It's not rocket science, but it is, to people like you and me that just listen to our doctors, listen to the institutions, administrations, schools and stuff that are just basically trying to walk us in a direction to be fat and sick our whole life and just pay into a system that doesn't ever really want us healthy and want us strong and want us thinking, and everybody's starting to realize that right now, starting to realize that a lot of things are happening, because there's been so many lies about saturated fat way back in the day, these companies, with the seed oils, lobbied the FDA to put out propaganda and say that saturated fat was giving you heart attacks. You believe that shit? Of course you can. No, it's not the seed oils. It's saturated fat, stuff we've been eating for thousands of years. That's what it is. All of a sudden, yes, all of a sudden it caught up. All those thousands of years of just eating animal fat and protein, you know what? It caught up with us. Like where the fuck is your head at? You know, like when you really start thinking about like the simple shit, it's like, oh wait, so this processed food has nothing to do with it? Got it. You know, so there's the lie about cholesterol. 80% of your cholesterol in your body, about roughly, is made in the body. 20% comes from food. Kid did a study, and that study ate a ton of eggs, his cholesterol went down. I talked about that last time. Let's talk about fluoride. Fluoride's interesting. I don't know if you guys know this, but I don't even know if I can put this on Instagram, because last time I reposted a video about fluoride, about how it could be harmful even in low doses in the water, because it's literally a toxic chemical. It's a byproduct from making aluminum. Okay? And what do people with Alzheimer's have? Like heavy metals in the brain and stuff. I'm pretty sure it's aluminum. And, we start thinking about that. So we have people that are on statins. They're getting dementia and Alzheimer's. Fluoride, blood-brain barrier, heavy metals in the brain. Now we're finding out there's microplastics they're finding in people's brains, like a bunch. Lied to us about nicotine. I didn't even realize nicotine was so abundant in nightshade vegetables. Your eggplant, cucumber, jalapenos, peppers. Do you know that Mexico has the lowest rate of cancer out of any population of people? Mexicans. Why? Because they're eating jalapenos and peppers all the time. High nicotine. And apparently nicotine is just great at all kind of stuff. And a long time ago, it looks like the government caught wind of how good, and effective nicotine was at many different things. Started trying to change it and say how bad smoking was for you and whatnot. And it turns out it's not so much the smoking that's so bad. I guess it's legal for tobacco companies to stick up to 198 chemicals in your cigarettes. The fuck? Like, whoever thought that was a good idea? Oh, I know. Somebody making a lot of money off of sick people and making people sick. Tobacco's a plant just like marijuana's a plant, just like mushrooms or a fungi. It's all natural stuff that just grows out of the ground. And we've demonized all these things. But at the end of the day, like, there's a benefit to these things. There's a receptor for nicotine, every cell in the body, just like THC. And, concocted drugs aren't like that. It's not like just this receptor. They have this cause and effect and things work like that. But, it's crazy when we roll into like Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Like, why do we pump money into an organization that's never going to figure it out? One of the problems that come with the breast cancer approach is, if they like smash on the boob and try to find the tumor and even jab the tumor, then it breaks the sac open. And there's a chance that sac might just be a parasitic sac and that your body is trying to just wall it off and keep it in one spot so it doesn't float all around the body and poison you or hurt you or, contaminate your body. But this is an issue. And nobody's looking into it to see if they have parasites causing these different tumors and lumps and things like that. I'm not saying that's the answer. I'm saying to stay curious. Stay curious, because now that we know parasites are a thing, they say if you eat sushi, everyone that eats sushi has parasites of some type because they're in there. I'm like, shit, I eat a lot of sushi. What can I do? Well, I've been taking a whole lot of oil of oregano and black seed oil. Do that for a while. It's not going to hurt me. If anything's going to help, And, fasting is a great way to kill all kind of stuff and kill cancers. But then it makes me wonder, are you starving the parasite? Is that why fasting works so well? Something to think about. So the idea that I'm trying to get at is the professional idiot is never curious. He's never curious. So don't be that person. Be curious. And you're going to constantly stumble on things that are going to take us the right direction. There's a lot of people out there with opinions about all kind of shit on the internet that shouldn't have opinions about it. like strong opinions. You know, if somebody's talking about the best way to learn how to play music and write music and all that, I'm not going to chime in and try to tell somebody they're wrong because I haven't mastered that. But you see that on the internet. Somebody will teach you how to do something, you know. And it's like that with bodybuilding, you know. It's like that with boxing or with fighting. It's like that with eating. Everybody's ate before, so everybody's got it figured out. They've heard it all. I got it, you know. You don't have shit. You're studied nutrition. How many books on nutrition have you read? You know? So I've read a whole bunch. A lot of them are shitty. When I say shitty, they were just difficult to understand. It was like regurgitated clinical jargon, and like, it doesn't take a genius to write those books like that. Like, the genius comes from somebody that understands a topic so well that they can relate it to you very easily in a number of different ways so it makes sense to you. That's what the genius is. So the genius is in communication of the information. The genius is not like, oh, I'm so smart, so I'm going to use all these big words so you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about because I'm going to look so cool. Like, that ain't it. That ain't it, you know? So there's a lot of people out there that have opinions, you know, and it's like, I'm glad that I've noticed there's been a shift already with this whole, you know, Trump era. You know, like, everybody's just tired of everybody being so fucking soft, you know? Like, I'm tired of it. Like, why do I have to worry about if you're offended or not? Fuck you. I don't have to like you. You don't have to like me. I don't know you shit, you know? And people can say, you know, yeah, Aaron, you know, but, you know, you're in films and you're in entertainment and you're this and that, you know? Like, yeah, I sure am. I sure am. And the people that like me are going to like my films. And the people that don't are not. And there's nothing going to change that. So I'm supposed to kiss everybody's ass? Like, that ain't me. That ain't me, you know? So, like, it's kind of cool. We're seeing things go this direction, you know. Zuckerberg is like talking about, oh yeah, it wasn't my fault, you know, that we had to suppress all the information about, you know, they were telling us to do this. Like, dude, you shadow banned my account, like, literally fucked up my money, and like, you still got my account all screwed up, and I gotta like do all these different things. I make money on the internet, so it matters. If I didn't, I wouldn't even fuck with social media, you know. People that have social media that just do it to just do it and be cool, like, you are bizarre to me. You're very bizarre. Like, why? Like, I wouldn't do it at all. I would just live my life. So those of you that are doing it for no reason, like, it makes no sense. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to try to bring the ladies into this too much, but I mean, we know why you're doing it. You know, you like the illusion of options. You know, you like every, you know, fat, sweaty, gnarly, stinky simp out there drooling over you to make you feel like you're something when you fight with your boyfriend or your man and you're ready to step out and move on to bigger and better things because you deserve so much more, right? And so those simps make you remember that. Yeah, so we got it. So I got it. I got it. That's why the chicks love to do it, you know. But I don't know why the dudes be trying to have a social following, maybe to get the chicks. You know, maybe that's what it is. I don't know. It's one of those things, man. I definitely look at it as a waste of time. A waste of time unless you're making money. Well, now that we're in this like era where we're just talking about everything and, you know, it's like the masculine era is back. You know, the fucking soft ass bitch phase of America is in the past. I'd like to leave it there. You know, I dealt with all the bullshit, you know, and I don't really get into politics anymore because I don't trust anybody in politics. Not because I think that they're all bad people or I just think that when it comes to politics, there is a much bigger influence of what is allowed and what isn't coming from very powerful people that will force your hand. And so when it comes down to your safety, your family's safety, I feel like everybody's going to do the same thing. You're going to look out for yourself. So regardless what your great ideas were, unless you really have a plan to be able to implement that and fight the powers that be as powerful as they are, you ain't getting shit done, you know. But I like this little shift in our reality right now that's going on with everybody excited about kicking ass. Trump is talking about getting rid of taxes, which would be great because this country was built on no taxes and being able to worship God however we want. And now we're handing over 20, 30, 40, 50% if you make a ton of money. It's like something ridiculous. Like, it's funny. So hopefully that will be over very soon. But, while all these things are happening, it's important to look back in history, just ask questions and stay curious. Like 9/11, two planes crashed into buildings. 3 buildings went down. You guys remember that? 3 buildings went down demolition style because they were demolition style, collapsed. 2 planes, 3 buildings. That's some physics I don't fucking get. But, you got to ask the right questions. Now the JFK files came out. Did you guys see the JFK files? So JFK files came out. Saw that recently. So the driver turned around and shot JFK in the face, some type of gun or whatnot, apparently. That's what's I've seen on the internet, this new stuff, and it was showing the unedited video and had shellfish in there because he had an allergic reaction to shellfish. He's allergic to shellfish, and they were talking about all kinds of shit. But you can see the video, and it's clearly somebody turns around with a gun, the guy driving. It took us all this years to talk about it, and like, why it takes so long? I mean, is there people out there really trust the government? Yeah. I don't. Just talking about this, everybody's in there. I saw the footage. Like, it's out there. Like, you can check it out. Like, this is not me just making it up. Some like conspiracy theory. It's out there. But then, like, let's think about, remember old Saddam Hussein? We got to go stop that guy. He's got weapons of mass destruction over there. Not one in the Iraqi war did we find. But we sure as hell had old Dick Cheney fire up Halliburton. Make billions of dollars off oil. Not one weapon of mass destruction. That's what the war was about. And we didn't find one. In the meantime, we just took the oil, it's collateral damage, just taking this oil. I mean, we're at war, right? We just kind of take, you guys, so we know you're doing something wrong. We're going to find it eventually. But in the meantime, let's just get all this oil. Just coming back full circle here. Stay curious. Ask questions. Question everything. It's so easy nowadays. Everybody's just scrolling, wasting time. And that machine's just feeding you. Knows you so well. It knows all the stuff you like. It's going to keep you there, just doing nothing. It's like paralyzed. You got to stop doing that. I was talking to a couple young kids today. I was filming in the gym, 2 young trainers, and they were both really good kids. Jonathan and Caleb, they helped me film today. And they asked me, do you have any tips or advice for us? And I said, sure. Think about what you want. I said, do you write your goals down? And he says, well, I haven't really done it in a while. Well, write your goals down. Figure out what you want. And to figure out what you want, don't try to figure out what you think you can get. Figure out what you want. And I say it like this. Like, if you look at your life and you look around and you see some hills that you could climb. And you're like, these are my options. But behind those hills, you see mountains. And you think, man, I wish I could climb one of those mountains and stand up there. The only way you do it is if you just get started. Just start taking one step after another to go up the mountain. And maybe one mountain is money. Another mountain is a family. Another mountain is the physique you always wanted. Maybe another mountain is becoming a musician or a celebrity or, I don't know, doctor, whatever. It's a good idea to focus on one mountain at a time. And sometimes you can work on other things while you're climbing that mountain, but all of your energy needs to go into one mountain. And once you get to the top of that mountain, it's easier from there to pick another mountain and say, now I'm going to do this. But if you just kind of mess with the hills the whole time and just think, man, I can never climb one of those mountains, well, then you never will. And you'll never get anywhere. But you have to figure out what you want. And once you know what you want, it's easy. So I suggest everybody listening, stop this. I want you to write down 3 to 10 things that you want. I don't care what it is. I don't care if you want to be a superhero, like the big guy himself. All right. I don't care what it is. Write it down. Write it all down. Put it on a piece of paper. All right. Take that paper, tape it eye level next to your bathroom. That way, every time you walk to the bathroom, you see it. That way, when you walk to the bathroom in the morning, go to the bathroom, you look at it, you read it. Every day, you read it. You see it every day, you read it. What this will do is, this is going to start changing your reality. Because thoughts are things. We're like radios. We emit frequency when we think. Boom, frequency, boom. You know. And what people don't realize is in our conscious mind, we make a bunch of decisions. But our subconscious is making decisions for us all the time, 24/7. So by writing your goals down, putting them on the wall and reading them every day, looking at them every day, you start to brainwash and control your subconscious. I also want you to take some time. No, go write your goals down. Do that. Stop the tape. All right, come back. All right, now you're back. I want you to take some time to look at those goals. And I want you to stop the tape again right after this, and I want you to fantasize about what it would be like reaching those goals. Pick out the one you want the most. I don't care what it is. I want you to get it right in your mind, and I want you to become that person. I want you to close your eyes and look around and look through that person's eyes. What do they see? What are you doing? Where are you? Who are you talking to? What's it like? You know, what are you wearing? What are you driving? What are you eating? Like, I want you to think about all these things. And I want you to fantasize about it and think about it so much until it starts to feel like a movie. And then I want you to remember that movie. Okay. And now when you remember that movie that you created, now your brain doesn't really know the difference, whether it was a real memory or something you made up. And so now you can get your subconscious to start working for you. And it's funny because everything came from nothing. Words. God spoke everything into existence. And we are his creation. And we can do the same thing. You know, the CIA released a document a while back in the 70s that said not only do our thoughts emit a frequency and attract the things they want, they actually alter reality. Your thoughts alter reality. So think about that. They know this. CIA knows this. So if you can get everybody to think what you want them to think, you can control reality. So if you control the narrative, you control reality. So I'd say this. If you don't like the narrative, you don't like what's going on, if you want something different from yourself, unplug, disassociate. And think for yourself what you want and focus on that. You know, whatever you look at, you attract. Whatever you hear, you attract. Whatever you think and say, you attract. For example, when I'm driving down the road, this is me, everyday life me. Driving down the road, see a cop has somebody pulled over, I see lights, I don't look at it. You're like, why wouldn't you look at it? I'm like, everybody else is looking at it. I'm not everybody else. Everybody else is just dying to see the drama, the train wreck. I'm over here going, I don't want it to affect my life, so I'm just not going to look at it. I don't even want any of that disaster in my life, whatever it may be. It's all negative. Nothing good over there. You know there's nothing good over there. So why the fuck are you looking at it? You know, your mind is like a garden. You got to mind your thoughts. And I heard Mel Gibson say, you're responsible for your second thought. The mind gets all kinds of crazy thoughts. The crazy ones are like weeds. And I agree with Mel Gibson. That second thought is a real one. The first one, you think something crazy, you can shake it off. Think about something else. But if you think something crazy and you keep thinking about something crazy, that second thought, now that's you thinking about it. Because the thoughts can come into your mind from all different ways and reasons and whatever, but it's a second thought. So when you are driving down the road and you see accident, cop car, lights, unless somebody's trying to flag you down, don't look at it. Because this life, people can argue this all day long, but it's not as real as you think. And when I say that, the limitations people say on this life that exist don't exist. And if you understand that you are a creation of God and part of Him, you'll understand you can do anything. You can do anything through God. So, having said all that, stay curious, mind your thoughts, and you don't have to like everybody. Everybody doesn't have to like you. It's okay. But don't waste any time on them. Tell them to get lost. Somebody's giving you a hard time. You don't like the way things are, tell them to get lost. Either remove yourself or tell them to get lost. One of the two. But don't waste time arguing with them. I saw a quote somewhere. It said that if a man argues with an idiot or a fool, it proves there's two. I like that. So there is that. Testosterone was also another myth, but you guys hear me talk about that all the time. Testosterone, high levels of testosterone are much safer than like high levels of like any drug your doctor's going to give you, because your body knows what to do with testosterone. And it controls so much and your body likes it. And I don't know where they came up with the 1,000, score of testosterone per deciliter of blood. Like that's supposed to be some standard. I don't know where they came up with that. I think they just came up with it. I think that it's probably more like 1,500, at least 12. Anyway, I think that's all the things that I wanted to talk about today, but just know that whoever you're talking to, if they're curious, that's good. With yourself, be curious, that's good. But if you don't have a lot of expertise in an area, it's okay to question somebody, but don't question them just to try to get them off or wrong when you're not really coming from a position of any type of academia where you're trying to learn or you have some knowledge that you want to talk about. Ask questions to learn and be better. But a lot of people will oblige their opinions about things, and this can be you, when they shouldn't. Sometimes you should just listen. If I'm talking to a boxer and he's got 30 plus years experience, like I'm not coming in year one trying to tell that guy why he's wrong. Right? So take all that for what it is. So, and I think I just want to leave it there, but stay curious. Just make sure it's in the right frame of reference for what you're trying to do to actually learn something, not to just try to make somebody appear to be wrong because you think you know something because you've tried it one time. All right? So there's that. Thanks for tuning in. Eat right, train hard, stay focused. Don't be a sissy.